Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about the dev notes, specifically the part I missed, and the part I think was most important that I missed, and the part that I think is very telling on how Smilegate plans to take this game in the future, and also the most controversial part about this update or developer notes that we're getting. So for those of you unaware that did miss my last video, if you did, go feel free to watch that if you want. But they're introducing hunts 12 and 13 in the near future. So I don't know if that means like 2025 sometimes, like with Hell Raid, or like near future is in next month. But either way, pretty excited for this. A lot of people are terrified because they're afraid that it's going to invalidate their old gear, you know, like that their 85 gear isn't something they're going to be able to use anymore, and they're going to have to refarm everything over again. And I really hope that's not the case, and judging from this one or two sentences we have here, I don't think it is. So if you're in that boat that is just pissed off, and there's a lot of people that are just telling me, I'm quitting this stupid game, how dare they invalidate my last year of farming. I've come into that a lot, and I need those people to like step back and realize what this means positively for the game in the long term, assuming they don't screw it up. They may or may not have a history of screwing things up, but if they don't, you know, if they don't, that's what we got to be hoping for. So what they say here is in these players will be able to, or in these levels, players will be able to acquire ingredients that can be used in order to reforge level 85 into level 90 equipment. We will provide further details about this content at a later time. So I've been predicting for a long time now, basically since Hell Raid was going to be expanded, that we were going to get new ways to get better gear. And the reason is, with 88 Hell gear, Hell Raid gear, it basically invalidates a lot of 85 gear already, and that's not good for them, because one of the ways they make money, like one of the #1 ways I would say they make money, is from leaf packs that go towards hunts farming 24/7 basically, right? Like that's a really fruitful way for them to make a ton of money. So for them to invalidate that just feels kind of like something they wouldn't do. So I've been very much predicting this for a while, and it makes sense that this is kind of coinciding with the Hell Raid release, when we're going to be getting access to more 80 stuff. So a lot of people were assuming that higher level hunts means higher level gear, and by the sounds of it, that is not the case. There's a couple ways they could go about this. One, they could have released Hunt 12 and have it drop more 85s and no 70s, and then release Hunt 13 and have it drop 90s and 85s instead, kind of like we have now with the 85s and 70s. Alternatively, the way I think they're going to do it is have Hunt 12 remove 70s possibly and just do 85s. And then have Hunt 13 do 85s only, not 90s, and drop the materials to upgrade your gear from 85 to 90 as well. So I really think that's the way they're going to go. And with this type of strategy, it's going to be so good for the long term of the game, I think, assuming it's done right. And what I mean by this is we are always going to need that 85 gear. For example, with upgraded gear to level 90, we are always going to need that base, right? We're always going to need the base 85 gear. So that piece of gear you farmed a year ago that has amazing stats is still going to be exactly what you need as a base. And then you can upgrade that base to 90. And then I'm assuming what it will do is upgrade the main stat of the thing to be up in line with the 88 gear. And it also might add a couple percents to the 85 gear as well. That's one way I think they're going to do it. And that's the way I hope they're going to do it. And the good part about this is they can continuously release new PvE hunts, like Hunt 15, 16 after, where we can upgrade our 90 gear to 95 gear, and we can still use that base 85. So there's always that need for the 85 gear we've been farming, and it's a way to not invalidate your gear through raids while also allowing you to do raids. I really like the idea. That said, there's another way they can go about it, where upgrading your gear from 85 to 90 rerolls the stats somehow. I really hope that's not the way they do it, but I wouldn't be surprised because random reroll stuff like that is very, very monetarily successful. See reappraisal stones in other games. That's something I think they could absolutely do. But with this method they're doing it now, I just think I'm really excited. You know, I'm really excited for the prospect of this if done right. So now, excluding all the stuff that drops, like the upgrade material, stuff like that, the number one concern for myself and people I've talked to is stamina still. Some people think they might be upgrading it from 20 to 25 stamina up to 30 stamina, which I don't think they'll do. I think they're capped out at 20 stamina right now for hunts. I don't think they will go any higher. I know they have like X stamina must equal Y rewards, but they haven't really defined how much of a reward the upgrade materials take yet. So I think that's something they can definitely wiggle their way into. And also you have to look for the future, right? Like, this game is not designed for a single thing forever. Like, it's not designed for hunt 10s forever. It's really designed for hunt 10s and then hunt 11s and hunt 12s and hunt 13s. And you can see this in every aspect of their game. You can see it through the seasons. You can see it through tier levels and gear, just like MMOs, you know, like everything revolves around rotating content that continuously changes just slightly to make people need to chase that little carrot a little more. And I like that a lot, actually, because that's what keeps me going. I like chasing carrots, okay? Don't blame me. Not everybody does, though, and I've had people really unhappy about having to build new teams for their Wyvern 12 and 13 and all their other hunts and such like that. So that's a little sad for me. I'm really sad that some people have to build new teams and don't enjoy it, but for so many of us, it is the greatest thing ever, having to build new units for new things. It makes us so happy, and it's one of the things I think the game is missing for me as a player. Alternatively, with this, I do also like that I think it's going to make Golem and Banshee, or I guess just Golem specifically, a little more enticing to do. And that's because we have so much attack gear that we've had for free. I'm not sure if we'll be able to upgrade it, but we've got so many attack gear pieces that we will still need to farm Golem, not for attack gear, but for the gear to upgrade our attack sets and stuff like that. So I like that prospect as well. The idea of actually wanting to do a hunt in Golem makes me really happy too. So those are the ways I think they're going to handle it. And I think we're going to see a steady increase in PvE content when it comes to Golem and it comes to Wyvern and it comes to Banshee. I feel like we're going to consistently get like an extra floor every time they add a new raid or something like that, or a little after, just like we have with MMOs. You kind of think about them as your dungeons in MMOs, right? Like, you hit your dungeons and then the new tier of raid comes out, and then you hit your heroics and mythic dungeons and stuff like that, and then the next expansion comes out and then you hit more dungeons. And that's kind of what I see it. It's just going to be a chain of never-ending dungeons that you always kind of have to be on your toes for. I'm not sure if this is how they're going to do it, but I would really, really, really love to hear everybody's thoughts on the process. I really like this. This is something I did not expect. I've been trying to think for a long time how to handle increasing hunt levels without pissing people off, and generally pissing people off means invalidating their gear, and I think this is a fantastic way to do that, while also adding more PvE to the game, while also like keeping the need to grind, while also keeping the need to need old pieces, while also allowing you to introduce new pieces of gear with higher eye levels without too much problem in the meta. Another thing that I'm not so sure about is how they're going to handle the raid pieces and the non-equipment pieces from the hunts. Because in theory, you should be able to upgrade the 88 pieces from PvP, although they're really awkward because they're not really 88 pieces. But specifically raid up to 90 to be in line with these, or if 90 and 88 are exactly the same anyway, which is probably what it's going to be. But then in the future, when we can go up to 95, which I fully expect us to be able to do, can you then upgrade those raid pieces and pieces too to keep it in line? I'm really, really curious. And then disregarding all of the things we've talked about today, ignoring hunts, there's also going to be new ways to enhance your gear. I would put every single cent I own that we're going to get reappraisal stones. For those of you that don't know what reappraisal stones are, they are money-making machines. They basically re-roll the substats of an item. So if you have a plus 15 piece of gear, you can use a reappraisal stone on them, and it completely randomizes the 4 substats and rolls it back up to 15. So if you have like a flat attack, flat defense, flat HP, effect resist ring with attack percent as the main, you can toss a reappraisal stone on it, and it can reroll into speed, crit rate, crit damage with all the rolls into speed. Completely possible to do. Also, I feel like we're going to be seeing gems soon, and what gems are essentially ways to replace a certain stat on a piece of gear. So for example, if you have flat attack on a piece of gear, you want to get rid of it, you can gem it out for another stat that makes sense on the piece of gear. So something that you can get. So if you have attack percent main, you can't gem in attack percent. You can't gem in attack percent on chest pieces, for example, because you can't get it there. So something that falls in lines with their rule of gear instead of that item. And then there's also going to be enhanced stones, grind stones, whatever you want to call them, that are going to be able to enhance your substats further than they are. So for example, if you have 8% attack on a substat, you might be able to grindstone that in up to like plus 7% more. These are things I fully expect us to be able to do to our gear within the next 6 months, and I think it's coming soon. So I would really beware in the next little bit, kind of spending your resources upgrading your gear and spending too many leafs on hunt 11s and stuff. I would really think twice about your investments on certain pieces of gear just in case this stuff happens soon, because it's going to have so big of an impact on everything that it's kind of unimaginable to know what's going to happen, and I'm very excited. So anyways, that's going to be it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this and give my opinion out there since so many people asked for it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always. And as always, I'd love to hear your comments in the description below, because I want to hear what you think of this. Do you like the idea of 90 equipment being upgradable only? Would you rather just invalidate your 85 gear and farm 90 equipment? Do you like the prospect of like hunt 15 and 16 and 17 later? Or is that just too much? Let me know. I'm really interested. So have a great day. Bye, everybody.